everyone, it's Tammy Mastroberte with Elevated Existence. Have you ever been told that everything happens for a reason, or that the universe is always working for your highest good? I've been told that, and I believe that. But is that something that you struggle to believe sometimes? Is it sometimes when everything is going wrong that you forget that the universe is working for your highest good? Or you forget that everything happens for a reason because you're in the midst of a crisis? Well, I want to share with you a story from my own life to sort of illustrate how, even though it doesn't look like it when we're in the midst of stuff, when we get to the end of it, we can often find the meaning. And I want you to try and hopefully find a circumstance in your own life as I tell my story. And even if you can't, the next time the bottom falls out, I want you to think of this story. So here it is. About 4 or 5 years ago, I had a cat that I had adopted when she was about 6 months old, and she was around 14 years old, and she started getting very sick. Nobody knew exactly what was wrong with her. It turns out she had a UTI, but then they thought she also had cancer. And even though we did all these tests and ultrasounds, nobody was really finding what was going on with her and really able to find a solution. Well, this went on and really dragged on for months until I found the vet that I now love. And it just took a toll on me. Those of you who have animals, you know what we go through for our animals. You know how much we love them. So it really took a toll on me, and the stress and the turmoil that I put myself through really took a toll on my body. And a lot of things started going wrong. And just about when we started finding a solution for her, and she started getting better, even though at first everybody thought this was it and literally came very close to thinking we were going to have to put her down, she started getting better. Well, as she started getting better, I started getting sicker. And I remember thinking at the time when she was going through everything she was going through, and nobody could diagnose her. Nobody knew what was going wrong. I remember saying to a friend, I don't know why I'm going through this, but I truly believe everything happens for a reason. I've seen it in my life before, and I'm just going to keep moving forward. I just know eventually I'll know why this is happening. And she started getting better, and I started getting sicker. And all these different symptoms were cropping up on me. I was getting rashes, I was having stomach issues, so many things were going wrong with me. And eventually, because I got so sick, I started putting together pieces of my own health. And I had been struggling with allergies since I was a child, since literally 5 years old. And then again as a teenager, and constantly dealing with pollen issues, but I had allergies year round, and nobody really knew exactly what was wrong with me either. They just said, oh, you have, chronic allergies. And so all of a sudden, all of these things started going wrong with me. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I just got her straightened out, and now I'm falling apart. And eventually, one thing led to another, and I started finding different things online, and I started piecing things together because all of these other symptoms cropped up. For years, everybody had just been focused on my allergies and my sinuses, and nobody looked beyond that. But because of the stress that I went through from going through what I went through with my cat, it brought up all these other symptoms. And because of all these other symptoms, I was finally, after 30 plus years, able to find a doctor that diagnosed what was wrong with me and went back to those original allergies and all these other new symptoms that had cropped up because of the tremendous amount of stress. Had I not gone through all that stress, had my Phoebe at the time not gotten so sick, and I then got so stressed and so sick, would I have finally found a diagnosis? I would have not been able to piece it together because I didn't have all these other symptoms at the time. They hadn't come out in me yet. And all of that stress that I went through brought it out. Now, funny enough, Phoebe went on to live for 3+ more years, a very happy and healthy cat. So she really went through all of that. I believe part of her purpose was to get me where I needed to go. So I do believe that part of what she went through got me to get worse, to get sicker, in order to get better. And so I realized, oh my gosh, I went through all this with Phoebe because she was trying to help me. And I do believe our animals are constantly trying to help us. And so I believe that was one thing that she did for me. And looking back, I know that I went through all that stress and I went through everything with her. And it did take a toll on my body. And I have to say that I definitely have learned to handle stress better now than I have in the past. But I had to go through that. Because in going through that, I finally got a diagnosis. And I finally started feeling better. And now I'm working to completely heal myself. But again, when we're going through that, we can't possibly imagine. First, my cat was sick, and then I was a mess. And it was like, come on, like, what is going on? We can't think beyond that. But at the time, because I've seen things happen in my past where things seem horrible, but they lead to something, I was able to say to myself, like, I know something is coming from this. I know somehow there'll be a purpose for me going through everything that I went through. And there was. And it brought me out to the other side, and I had more time with my amazing cat before she finally did pass. And I was also able to get myself into a much better place than I had been in years. So, I share all of this with you because I want you to realize that even when it seems like everything is lost, even when it seems like nothing is going your way, I know Mastin Kipp, who I've interviewed many, many times, he's an author, and he talks about sort of a divine storm. So, a lot of the times when the bottom is falling out and everything seems chaotic, there is meaning behind it. There is something that it's getting you somewhere else. And I want you to try and trust that. I want you to see if you can look back and find those times in your own life. And if you can't, I share my story because I want you to think back to this and say, you know, oh my gosh, let me think back to Tammy's story, and it did bring her somewhere. Now, it took months. You don't find the meaning overnight, and that's where the faith and the trust in the universe, in spirit, comes into play. So I do hope that this story helps you. I hope maybe you can identify some things in your own life. And so as you're moving forward through your life and things crop up, because they will, because that's the universe that we live in, even though it seems like it's dire and it's a bad, bad situation, I want you to remember that often it's leading you somewhere because the universe is always operating for your highest good, even when we're in situations that are not pleasant, that are not happy, that seem like there's nothing good that's going to come out of it. So I wish you a beautiful week. I thank you for watching and allowing me to share my story. I do hope that it helped you. And until next time, trust the universe and keep elevating yourself. Hi everybody, I am back for a second because I want to introduce you to my new baby girl. Say hi everyone. This is Cali, and she is my newest kitten, Cali, C-A-L-I, short for California because my boyfriend and I love it there. And so I just wanted to introduce you to her to let you know that I have gotten a new kitty, and I cannot wait to see what this beautiful little girl is going to teach me. Say bye. Bye everyone.